Welcome to the Democracy in Action podcast. I'm your host, Angeli. Today we're exploring how democratic is the Constitution. We will have some great guests with us today who will be helping us understand the type of democracy we, according to the government, live by. Let's dive into some historical context. Nicholas, take the spotlight.
Thanks, Angela. Well, the Constitution, as you know, emerged in 1787 from the weaknesses of the Articles of Confederation, which left the federal government too weak to function, lacking a central government, the power to tax, and struggling to regulate trade, even enforcing laws. They attempted to create a stronger and more unified system, but with the compromises made, especially regarding slavery, highlighted inequalities right from the beginning.
I agree. While the Constitution aimed to establish a democratic structure, it excluded many groups. The involvement of slavery and the lack of rights for women and Native Americans meant that its democratic beliefs weren't even taken into consideration.
And let's not forget the Bill of Rights, ratified in 1791, compromising the first ten amendments which focused on the American rights and individual liberties. It was an effective step in protecting individual liberties, but it still left many isolated. For example, women didn't gain the right to vote until the 19th Amendment in 1920, and even then, still many barriers were faced by them and other groups.
It seems like the Constitution has had a mix of setbacks as well as many upgrades over time. How do you think it plays out in today's context? Jelena, what do you think?
Well, today, we've seen amendments abolish slavery and the ability to vote has expanded. However, issues like silencing voters for what they truly want and believe reveal all the inequalities that are still present. The Constitution provides a foundation, but it's not a guaranteed democracy for everyone.
Exactly. The amendments really shape what the Constitution is. However, people who violate the amendments, like those in power, truly make it hard for others to have true accessibility to everyone. This is why the Anti Federalists were against centralized power, because those who abuse their power will violate natural human rights.
I mean, still today, society faces many racial and social justice movements, really demonstrating the many communities that still face obstacles to participation, including the LGBTQ community, who still face obstacles to face participation in our democracy. The Constitution is just a piece of paper that requires commitment and loyalty to actually uphold its democratic ideals, but not everyone will ever follow it.
So, would you say the Constitution is democratic, but only if the people are actively support it?
Yeah, for sure, but we could never be 100% that everyone will support it. Democracy isn't just a set of rules, but it's about how those principles are enacted and who gets to participate. The Constitution's reputation depends on public engagement and advocacy for our country's policies.
And we should remember that democracy is a process. And there's definitely been significant progress, but there's still work to be done. It is essential for each generation to come to be able to handle the democratic challenges that revolve around inequalities. We for sure don't want another Boston Tea Party happening anytime soon, so democracy must grow as society changes.
Yeah, I agree. The promise of democracy is to ensure that everyone's voice is heard and represented. And although it's not sophisticated enough, it's definitely a work in progress that requires the public's commitment as well as the ones in power.
So, therefore, our Constitution is democratic, but only effective when there is a commitment to the ideals of democracy. Great. Thank you guys. I really appreciate you being part of this week's episode.
Of course,
Thank you for having us.
And until next time, Democracy in Action is out.
Democracy in the U.S. Constitution? Why do rich people make the rules? Voting. Who voted? Not many. Not who. We the people. Who is we? You sweat. Something about amendments. They probably made it fair. A little democratic, but it prob got fixed, and it's all right now.
Sorry, there was dogs.
Oh my god.
Wait!
Jelena, you.
the Constitution is, however, people who oh my for sure don't want another Boston Tea Party happen.
Oh my god. Get that out. No. So therefore, our Constitution is democratic, but only effective when there. Oh my